Oh, Nutella says hello. So much chaos. This is a little bit of an unplanned video, but I was too excited not to share. I recently hit what feels like the jackpot of estate sales. The person whose home this was a huge embroiderer, a sewer, a knitter, a crocheter, and she just had the most wonderful items in her collection. You might not see all of it, but behind me and next to me I've piled all the things I was able to acquire. I don't even really know where to start. Why don't we start with some of the sewing notions, because I think those are fascinating. So this is the first box of things that I'm going to go through, and it is mostly sewing notions, although there's definitely also a unique collection of other items in here. The first set of things that I think are fascinating are these needle books that you would sometimes get as part of advertisements from different companies. I've read that they would kind of drop these off at homes. I'm glad that she kept so many. I feel like that's definitely a great strategy to making sure that you have enough needles. So she has a ton of those. Not all of them have all the needles in them, so I'll also be checking for completeness of them. The next set of things I can call supporters, stretchy supporters. So here we have some stretchy shoulder straps that look vintage-y. I'm not sure, could be like 80s as well. Then we have some elastic hose supporters and some more bra straps. This is definitely like 80s, 90s-ish. Oh, we have some more needle books. I'll add that to our needle book pile. More of these atomic ones, so someone riding like an atomic rocket. This one I thought was interesting to be kept with the sewing supplies. It is for comfort and for security, a personal belt. I don't know exactly from when this is, but just guessing based on the artwork and like the font style and things, I would guess this is from around the 50s maybe. And this is basically a belt to support a sanitary pad. It's still in its original packaging. Now we have a whole bunch of fasteners, a ton of hook and eyes. I always need more hook and eye closures. It's so hard also to tell when exactly some of these items are from because the branding and the marketing looks so old-fashioned. Maybe you all know better than I do, that look far older. So like this one, to me, looks like it might be far older than that, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm not gonna go through this one in all that much detail because it is basically just a whole bunch of needles. Then we have another set of fasteners, a whole lot of eyelets of different sizes. Got a few more boxes to go through. So the next one is going to be the buttons box. So let me get that. Okay, so this is not only the buttons box, but also her embroidery hoop box. As I mentioned, the person whose estate this came from was an avid embroiderer. She had so many beautiful pieces, and this is the majority of her embroidery hoop collection. A lot of buttons. She also had a bit of an organizational system, which I appreciate, and she tried to keep similar buttons close together, which again, I'm very appreciative of, makes it easier to sort through things. So she has a lot of them that are coming from these kind of packs, but then there's also some that maybe seem to have come off of old garments that she's kind of tied together and kept near each other. And there's some really beautiful ones in here. I love the variety of this collection. It's wonderful to look at. Just basically an entire collection of buttons. Next, I have this bin of, it's a combination of things. It's zippers, scissors, and patterns. I'm particularly excited about the patterns I was able to get, and also the scissors. I got these pinking shears from Wiss in their original packaging. We also have this beautiful pair of Klaus hot hammer forged shears, and they're in amazing condition. Now that we're past the scissors, I can show you some of the patterns I was able to acquire. Now this is an older embroidery pattern. It looks to me like it's kind of from the 1910s/1920s based off of the hairstyle of the lovely woman on the front. The package is in less than great condition, and there's a lot of paper in here, so I don't know if it's all for this particular pattern or if there's a few that she put together and put in here, but I'm gonna take a little bit of time and maybe go through all the designs that are in here. I've never really done a lot of embroidery myself, but it'd be wonderful to use one of those patterns. This one is a mail order pattern, it looked like, and it's for a 1950s dress. that looks super comfortable and very nice for the summertime. This might be something that I make in the future. And now I have an assortment of different vintage patterns. So we have some aprons. I always love a good apron. I like wearing an apron constantly because I tend to just be a messy person, so it saves my clothes that I'm wearing if I'm wearing an apron over it. I've been wanting to make some skirts, so this looks to me like 1950s maybe skirts. So this is one of the dress patterns that looks to me like it might have been from the 90s or something like that. It's so cute, and I definitely want to make a summer dress out of this. Another apron pattern, this looks to be from the 40s to me. Some more skirts. This looks more 90s to me maybe. And then this to me definitely looks either 80s or 90s in terms of when the pattern is from, but this top in particular with the puffy sleeves, I want to make this top. Look at this. This is an antique yoke for like a nightgown. It's in wonderful condition. The stitches are punishingly tiny. It reminded me very much of the antique yokes that I saw for nightgowns in some of the pattern pieces. Ooh, another pair of scissors. Never seen one like these before, but looked fascinating. I'd like to try it out. And then I won't go through this in detail, but look at all these zippers. They're mostly regular zippers. There's some invisible zippers in here, but it just felt like the mother lode of zippers, and I'm so happy. Okay, my last bin. Hold on. So this is the last bin. Now this person, she had such a collection of trims and ribbons, and I think I could have spent hours going through her collection, and I ended up just grabbing this box because there's other people there who wanted some of her trims and seemed more interested than I. So I grabbed this one, which seemed the most like utility almost to me, that I could get the most use out of. So it is just spools and spools of some ribbon, some tape, some cord, all kinds of finishings, and then I found this. This doesn't have a bunch of labeling on it, and it just happened to be in this bin. I didn't notice this until I came home, which is pretty exciting. Based on what it feels like to me, I believe these are dress shields because they have this like plasticky lining here, and they're fit so that you could really pin it very well underneath your underarm here, and it would absorb your sweat and then it wouldn't go through to your main fabric on the other side. I've never seen a dress shield in person. I don't think these are antique. I think they're vintage maybe. I'm fascinated and I want to try out some of these myself. I tend to constantly have like pit stains, sorry if that's TMI, but especially in the warmer months, and it gets frustrating because it can stain your clothes, and I'd like to try these out and see how they are. I've seen a comment before that said that they grew up wearing them and then found them pretty uncomfortable. I'm just curious from my own experience what it might be like to wear some of the dress shields. So I believe those are the highlights from all of the bins and the boxes that I have. There's a sewing basket that I was able to get, but I'm gonna go through the fabric I grabbed first. She had so much fabric. It was a little bit overwhelming to go through everything. I grabbed these because they stuck out the most to me, and I don't have an idea for what I'm gonna make out of each of them, so if you have some suggestions for me, please let me know. Then I grabbed this one, which has a lovely like texture to it. I have no idea what I'm gonna make out of this, although I have a really good amount of it, although it's maybe a little bit skinny. It is 100% cotton. I found this very well-loved piece of flannel. I have a flannel shirt that I enjoy wearing, but I only have one, and so I am planning on using this bit of flannel here to make another copy of it. So I have a project in mind for this one, which is a good thing. Then I found this fabric, which don't know exactly what it is. It's got fringe on the side, but the pattern just looked so cute to me, so summery. So I'm thinking that this will turn into like a really lovely dress at some point. I have a lot of this material though, so if you have any other ideas, like maybe a cute apron. This is a fabric I kept on coming back to. So I picked it up and then I put it down, and then I picked it up and I put it down, and I finally ended up going with it, but it just screamed fall to me, although maybe like fall from the 1970s. But there's something about this fabric that I just really loved. And we have a few smaller pieces. So we have this, which just seemed like a really lovely gauzy type of material. Again, no idea what I'll make out of this, but it just looked really cute. A lovely green gingham type fabric, which seems like bedding to me. And I think this will be like a lovely item for maybe next summer for me to make something out of, like a play suit. I think this would be perfect for that. And then this bit of fabric struck me as like a really lovely fabric for maybe the fall time. has this tiny little like flower type print on it. So we have this wool fabric. I have a lot of it, but I was definitely thinking like a fall type of pinafore maybe would be perfect out of this fabric. And then one more kind of ginghamy brown and white fabric that has a good amount of weight to it. Then we have a few pieces that are very useful for me. We have a few aprons. They're super cute. I believe she sewed these herself. I love the fabrics that she used and the trims that she used, and I have already been wearing some of them throughout my day just because they're very useful and very easy to put on. Although my favorite, I think, I haven't worn this and I don't think I am, but it's so pretty and so cute with, I believe, like a little matching piece for your hair. Okay, so that was the speed run through the fabric and the aprons, which means that the last bit of this kind of estate sale haul that I got were the books. You know how I love antique books, and here is the pile behind me on everything I was able to get. These aren't specifically knitting or sewing related, but they are kind of household or general information related that I just loved the look of. So this is the Household Encyclopedia, information on etiquette and how to be healthy and strong, a good marriage advice and things like that. Some of the advices, I've read through some of these and, well, you can definitely tell it's an antique book of advice. It's kind of interesting because they have the solution for what you should do if you find someone that has been struck by lightning, and I wonder how common that would be, but they have recommendations on how you should revive someone who's been struck by lightning. Then we've got polite society, home and abroad, letter writing, the house of mourning, etiquette of visiting, toilet recipes, etiquette of the schoolroom, parents and children. Then we have a few smaller volumes, one on home health and home economics. I find recipes and kind of instructions on the home very interesting, and a lot of times they also add information on sewing or knitting or crochet. This one is Wells' Science of Common Things, which is actually really fascinating. So this is kind of, it tries to explain things with a series of questions and answers. So you have, what is an echo? An echo is a reflection of sound. In what places do echoes most frequently occur? In caverns, large halls, valleys, and mountains. It is at this point that unfortunately the technology gremlins have stolen the rest of the footage from this estate sale haul, which I think is okay as I only had about one or two more books to go over, which you can see have been wonderfully integrated into the rest of my collection. I did make some room for the other notions that I was able to get from this estate sale haul, and I am so happy. I've already started using some of them. If you're interested to see how I'm going to be using the fabrics in the future, please feel free to subscribe, as I am currently working on a project that incorporates a lot of the fabrics that you've seen in this haul. Thank you so much for watching. If you like anything related to vintage or antique fiber crafts, sewing, history, anything like that, please feel free to subscribe, and I will see you all again with maybe a little bit more of a typical video very soon.